Since the introduction of Civil Services Aptitude Test in 2011, one big question has been hanging. And that question is about the fact, does it leave some students out, and specifically from the humanities background? This debate has been revived, and this time this has taken revival in Parliament. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to talk about CSAT, one component of one of the most toughest premier exams of our country. And this is where we get to see our Member of Parliament labeling it as barrier to diversity. Is it true? What are numbers telling? And what are the reforms we can expect? So let us start with understanding the issue itself. So what exactly has happened? So basically, a Rajya Sabha MP has highlighted that when we talk about Civil Services Aptitude Test, which is one of the two papers that happen in preliminary examination of this particular whole examination. So in this, CSAT has been labelled as a biggest barrier to diversity when we are talking about recruitment that is happening through this exam. And he has also gone ahead and stated that up to 65% of successful candidates, they are coming from the engineering background. However, he has also highlighted that the humanities as well as art graduate, they are struggling with CSAT's technical, mathematics heavy and comprehensive based questions. Now, this is something that has been said by an MP. That's why it holds so much importance, which is the temple of discussion. A matter has been raised, but how much this matter is grounded, how much it is this real. So let us try to understand it, starting with talking about what exactly is CSAT. So when we talk about CSAT, first we have to understand that UPSC CSE has 3 levels. The first stage is the preliminary exam, where it has 2 papers. We have paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is general studies and paper 2 is CSAT. Now then we have mains examination, where we have 9 papers in total, and then we have personality test. Now when we are talking about prelims examination, where we have GS and CSAT, both of them are MCQ based. Now we will be talking specifically about CSAT here. Now when we are talking about CSAT was introduced in 2011. The total marks here are 200. The questions that you get are 80 questions. However, in GS you get 100 questions. Now another important change that was introduced in 2015, that this was made qualifying, and the cutoff here was 33%. That means out of 200, if you score 66 marks, then you will make through. But the important component here is also the negative marking. But this is not the main question. We were just trying to understand that what exactly is CSAT. What makes CSAT the point of discussion here is the syllabus. So let us look into syllabus right now. Syllabus of CSAT includes comprehension, it includes reasoning, numeracy and decision making. So this clearly shows that CSAT is an exam which is not about rote learning. It is, as per the name, to check your aptitude, right? Now, let us also try to understand, when we are talking about CSAT, which is comparatively newly introduced, why it was introduced and what went behind it. So when we are talking about CSAT, before that the pattern was GS and optional subject, like 2 exams I told about prelims level. So it was GS and optional subject. But the problem here was the optionals which were present, there were 23 optionals and all of different variety, level, depth. In this situation, scaling was a huge problem. Then there was a lot of optional bias that was seen, and this format specifically promoted rote learning. So in order to address the issues that cropped up, CSAT was introduced so as to ensure that there is standardization, that all the aspirants are checked on the same parameters, there should be analytical focus and there should be level playing field for the aspirants. Now this introduction was done based on Second Administrative Reforms Committee's recommendations as well. Can you tell me in the comment section that who headed second ARC. Now, CSAT was introduced with the objective of level playing field. Now, when we are at a point where we are discussing that this is a barrier, this becomes a very different and difficult understanding, because this is where we get to see a standoff between merit and systemic inequality and what exactly it is. So, to understand this better, we would have to look at some numbers as well and also understand that what is the controversy. As I explained, the controversy here is the fact that this exam CSAT is favored towards STEM students, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and there is a disadvantage of language if you are coming from Hindi belt or if you have regional languages. This also puts you at a disadvantage if there is difference between urban and rural education, which there is, and with time, yes, we have also seen increasing difficulty. Now, this is the controversy which is wrapped around CSAT, and this is not something new. Since the introduction, this is something that has been highlighted. This is not that the first time this is coming up, this is something absolute fresh. But when we look at the numbers here, for example, when we look at the result of 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, we clearly get to see, yes, the STEM dominance is visible, but at the same time, we cannot ignore the fact that multiple factors are applicable in this selection. Multiple level fields are existing in this selection. So, correlation here cannot become causation. This is something very important for us to understand. What are your thoughts on this? Also, let me know that in the comment section so that we have a fair understanding that what are the students feeling about this. I am trying to break this down from both the aspects. On this note, let us also try to look at that what are the pros and cons. Because when we are talking about CSAT, in reality, it does help in understanding and testing analytical and decision making skill. It reduces rote memorization advantage. It creates a uniform evaluation standard. Otherwise, if we are talking about different options, that was something that was absolutely varied. Apart from that, it is only qualifying. And most importantly, it aligns with global aptitude testing methods, and these are something that we would want in our officers who are recruited through such a premier exam. Apart from that, we cannot definitely not look on the other side of the coin. There are certain issues. So when we are talking about criticisms such as dominance of STEM field, disadvantage to arts and humanities, certain language bias, high difficulty which we have seen, because this has become a bigger filtering stage that we see as compared to general studies, especially of preliminary exam. So in this context, what we are talking about or what is being pitched out there is removal. But at the same time, I feel that removal is not going to solve the problem, reforms is going to. So as of now, yes, there might be certain correlation that we have seen in present times of data, but at the same time, causation cannot be made just based on that, because multiple factors come around when we are talking in an aspirants going through these multiple stages as well as the preparation itself. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.